Well, hello. We have a whole new week's worth of stuff, and we are still in the exact same time period as the Industrial Revolution. So 1750 to 1914. However, um, we're really more in the 1800s with this specifically. But I do want you to notice something before we go any farther. Look at the date. Okay, 1914 is World War One. We're almost there. Some of y'all have been wanting the world wars like forever. We're almost there. That being said, what's going to happen in this week's stuff right here is going to show you how we go from, like in World War One, how we go from just this tiny little war that should have been nothing. It should have been a war between Serbia and Austria. That's it. And it's going to get just blown up because of imperialism. Okay. So that being said, imperialism, first off, is empire building. The word imperial means empire. I think it's the adjective describing empire. If these are the imperial jewels, they are the empire's jewels. Yeah. If this is the imperial palace, it is the emperor's palace. On sugar. There's a type of sugar called imperial sugar. If you have any of that at home, go look at it. For real, pause it and go look at it. This imperial sugar packaging, I can't remember if it's blue or yellow, but the imperial sugar packaging has a crown on it because imperial means empire. I know in movies you hear all the time, yes, your imperial highness. Imperial highness means the highest person of the empire, the emperor or the empress. So with imperialism, we're empire building all over again. Okay, you guys, we've been empire building all year long. Okay. However, in the 1800s, it's going to get a little crazier than it has been. Okay. And we're going to look at four main empires. Y'all, if you look at this map, there's a ton. You can see on the bottom Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Great Britain, Italy. Like you can read. We're going to deal especially with England, the British Empire. Okay, England is this kind of weird pinky color here. England's tiny, not a country here. Okay, but you see they're going to have Scotland and Ireland, which they've had forever. Canada, which you should already know because I've already taught it. They've already taken some of the islands, some of the best islands, and what is this? The Dutch East Indies. Okay, we're going to talk about Australia, New Zealand. They will have some dealings here with China. Don't let the fact that China isn't in any color fool you. It's controlled by England mostly. They're going to take India and then parts of the Middle East, and then look right here, a whole chunk of African peoples. So we'll deal with England. We will then come over here. Well, actually, this isn't the order I'm going to teach it, but who cares? We will deal with looking at how Russia is going to go from here to all of this. Okay. We will look at France. France is this kind of purpley color. And then France looks like, when you look at France on here, like, wow, France did really well for herself. Yo, that's the Sahara. So she's doing well since it's out. No, she's not. We'll get there. And then we will deal with the U.S. empire. Yes, we have an empire. We have mostly, of course, we have this in Alaska because Russia sold it to us, but we also have some Caribbean islands, and then we have some Pacific islands over here, and then we also we don't own it. It's kind of like England in what is that, China. We don't own it, but we definitely have influence over Latin America. Okay, so that's just kind of the quick overview. As far as what you should be doing, imperialism notes, they are attached. Technically, it is part of the same unit as the Industrial Revolution and stuff. So just stick them together. And I don't care if you just print it off and follow along. And write stuff on here, highlight. I don't care. I don't care if you retype all this to put it in your notes, but do you need this? Yes. Guys, AP test. Everything else may be going away, but not the AP test. Okay. That being said, causes of imperialism, reasons that countries start this empire building all over again, this scramble to build stuff. I'm sorry, to take over stuff. The biggest cause is economic, really. This is still like it's happening at the same time as the Industrial Revolution. So all of those new inventions and stuff that I talked about last week. Okay. Um, okay, I'm sorry, I was jumping ahead of myself. Let's say you're England, right here, any country. Okay, if you're in England and you have invented the telephone, we'll do the telephone. If you've invented the telephone and you have sold everybody in England a telephone, okay, you have sold everybody in Scotland, Ireland, and Canada a telephone. You have sold even some of your like frenemies, America, telephones, but nobody else needs telephones there. Well, you could just come over here and take over the native Aborigines and then sell them phones. So one reason is we're trying to like open up new markets to sell our products. Okay. Going hand in hand with that, we want the raw materials that are here. Look at England. We talked about this when we talked about exploration. England is tiny. Like when you look at England on the world scale, look at her. She's little. Okay. She needs more raw materials, especially considering the Industrial Revolution started there. Coal, iron, it is in abundance, but she's going to need more stuff. So England is going to start looking at other places that does have the raw materials that she needs. Okay. So England might look to Australia or New Zealand or, oh my gosh, especially India. India is called the jewel in England's crown. There's a reason. So part of it is to get more raw materials. That's a big reason that France right here is going to take over Indochina, raw materials. All right. So you want new markets to trade your goods, but you also want places to get raw materials. And think about it this way. I guess I shouldn't have left this out. So couldn't you, instead of taking over the Aborigine or instead of taking over India, couldn't you, if you're England, just go to India and like make a trade deal and buy their stuff? Well, yeah. But if I take them over and I own their stuff, well, then I don't have to buy it. I make more profit as a result. Do you see that? Another big like cause of imperialism is simple: nationalism and power. When you look at this map, there are some colors that just pshing out at you. That pink, the green, but just because it's Russia, the purple, they just pshing right out at you. Okay, that looks good. The more land you own, the more power you have, right? France. But that's how it's perceived. This is going hand in hand with nationalism. The idea of, yes, we own the most land and it makes us the best. Okay. There's also something that I talked about in last week's stuff. It has to do with this guy, Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin came up with this thing about animals. Y'all, he's talking about animals, but it's going to get applied to countries. And he talks about survival of the fittest, okay, where he says only the strongest animal will survive. But again, not just strong like strength, it's also mental, physical, duh. But anyway, mental, physical, emotional, and adaptability. If you're the country that has been able to adapt the best to this new modernized, technological, industrialized world, then social Darwinism says you deserve to get to take over countries that are less industrialized than you. That sounds pretty harsh. What that is saying is, India has not modernized. India has not industrialized. The native Aborigine, they're still living in like tribal type huts. Some of the countries, some of the kingdoms in Africa, they're not industrialized either. That means we have the right to take them over. That sounds pretty harsh. So there's going to be a poem that comes out that's it's going to be basically saying the same thing, but it's going to say it in a nicer or just more racist way. Okay. And it's done by this. Oh, wait. I can't. Ah! What's happening? I can't move my thing. Hold on, you guys. Ah! I'm big. I don't know if it did it for you. I don't know. I can't get to my arrow. Well, goodness. There we go. There we go. Okay. This guy's name is Rude or Rudyard. 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 A lot of the time in America, I don't know why, but you're going to see people write or say his name Richard. Rudyard or Richard Kipling. Mr. Kipling writes a poem called The White Man's Burden. Okay, I hate teaching white man's burden because it's like so stereotypical. Hi, I'm the white girl and I'm teaching white man's burden. Ugh. Okay, please remember, I'm just the messenger. Okay. All right. White man's burden is basically saying the same thing as social Darwinism. We have the right to go and take over these places, but it's equating people that are not modernized, like Indians, like Aborigines in Australia, like Native Africans. It's equating these people who are not industrialized to children. Okay. Basically, what it's saying is they don't know how to industrialize. It is our burden to take our culture, to take our technology, to take our education to the not educated. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Until you put the race card in there. I like teaching, and it's my burden to teach you guys. But then he adds in the race card. It's not just the burden of me because I'm technologically advanced. It's my burden because I'm the white man. This, oddly enough, is seen as a nicer way of saying you deserve to get taken over, because social Darwinism doesn't make it sound pretty. You deserve to get taken over because you're not as technologically advanced. Well, white man's burden, sorry, that's my laundry. White man's burden says, it's not that I think you deserve to be taken over. It's that I want to spread all of my knowledge to you. But it adds in the race card. Guys, at its heart, white man's burden is going to become a racist thing. That shouldn't really be a huge surprise to you, because let me go back to the previous picture. Last year in the 9th grade, you should have learned about South Africa, apartheid. Is that familiar to you? Nelson Mandela? Guys, apartheid is terrible racial segregation. That makes what we did in America look like nothing. And it wasn't nothing here. But what they're going to do in South Africa, yeesh. And a lot of it is because of this idea of the white man's burden. Not only do we have to take our stuff to you, but because it's the white man's burden, well, that puts us above you, doesn't it? So this is not really Europe's time to shine, guys. Okay, and you know I love Europe. That's my thing. But imperialism doesn't really paint Europe in a nice, sweet light. Okie dokie. Okay, so tomorrow or whatever, in the next video, however you're watching these, I will deal with Russia and France, and I don't think we'll get to the US, but we might. Okay. All right. Bye. Let me hit stop.